Hello, one and all, it's my view of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Chapter 108, The Variant. And this chapter gives some rather interesting insight into Koichi's Ultra Instinct Mode, which is a term that's becoming more and more appropriate as this chapter, his eyes actually changed color when he was in the zone. So yeah, that's a full-on transformation right there. I mean, not as shocking as Six's transformation, but still, it's a transformation nonetheless, and it is really, really cool. But anyways, O'Clock explains Koichi's power basically comes from him getting beaten up again and again and again throughout the course of his entire time as a vigilante because, he is just really, really bad at it, especially in the beginning. And as a result of being hit again and again, he basically learned how to dodge entirely by instinct to narrowly avoid the enemy's blows again and again and again. And that's how he keeps surviving Six's rapid-fire attacks. That is how he's become the unthinking dancer. Oh, I love that term. I freaking love that term. Though this creates a rather interesting dichotomy with Six, who from the day he was born has basically been at the top of the food chain. He has been the predator and everything in the world has been his prey. I mean, with the exceptions of when Endeavor accidentally burned him and when Knuckle Duster managed to, outsmart him. But for the most part, he's never lost. He's never had to worry about losing. His victory has always been essentially assured. And that's why he has this hero mindset, why he believes that he is essentially unbeatable. And that's why he believes, he doesn't have to worry about Koichi. He doesn't have to run away, and that no matter what happens, eventually he will win this fight. And I'm very curious to see what happens with this moving forward. Could it be that because Six has never really known fear, he doesn't dodge Koichi's blows when he's supposed to, he allows himself to hit time and time again, that results in him somehow losing the fight? I mean, I think that would make a certain amount of sense. He basically thinks he's invincible, and Koichi is basically unhittable. So, curious, very, very curious. I mean, the dichotomy between these two definitely goes beyond that. I mean, their human forms look a lot alike, and even now, Six is trying to replicate Koichi's crawler technique to, stay lower to the ground and allow for less air resistance. So, that's definitely interesting. But even beyond their similarities, they've always been, in a way, opposites. Six wants to be famous, he wants to be beloved by all the people, while Koichi just wants to help those around him. He made this great analogy a few chapters back where he said he's only looking up at a smaller section of the sky, but it makes the moon and stars seem so much bigger. He just wants to protect the people in his neighborhood, while Six wants to be beloved. He doesn't actually care if he protects people or not, so much as the people think he's a hero. It's just so much the people worship and adore him. And I'm very, very curious to see what happens to all of this. But anyway, like I said, Six has taken on this monstrous form, and is still, trying to go like Koichi, trying to stay low to the ground, so able to decrease the air resistance and attack him. And at first, it seems like this won't be enough to actually win the fight, because he does actually need to slow down and attack with his claws, and Koichi is able to dodge here. But then he just straight up headbutts Koichi and then body slams him, which, not as effective as cutting him to ribbons with his claws, but it slows him down enough where Six thinks he's able to go in and deliver a finishing blow. But even then, Koichi is able to dodge, deflect each and every attack time and time again, and it looks so freaking beautiful here. I freaking love it. I mean, seriously, Koichi just keeps putting up these barriers time and time again to perfectly deflect, to perfectly parry every single one of Six's blows. Oh, it looks so freaking cool. It looks so freaking cool. We also get some more information about why Six decided to take on this new monstrous form. And it's interesting that O'Clock refers to the accelerated state as basically being underwater, which, interesting? I mean, air is technically a fluid, I think, so could it be that, because he's moving so quickly, because he has to displace so much air so quickly, that is basically like moving through, deep, deep water, he has to, push more of it out of the way, and that's where his analysis is coming from? I mean, I'm not entirely sure about that, but one thing I was right about was that the things on his back, the pipes on his back, which are referred to as dorsal spiracles here, are basically extra mouth. They allow for more efficient respiration, basically meaning that Six can bring in as much air as he needs to while he's fighting without needing to stop to take a break, which is, oh, so terrifying. So very, very terrifying. And his entire body's basically been remodeled to handle the pressure of being in an accelerated state, basically indefinitely, which, yeah, that's worrying. That's very, very worrying. And he's even described as being the supreme predator, which is curious because he looks way more like Alien than Predator. Interesting, very, very interesting. And I also just love the fact that he's trying his best to swim through this metaphorical ocean. He finds Koichi already waiting at the bottom of the sea for him because this is where Koichi's always been, a hair's breadth away from death time and time again, as he's, come so close to death each and every time he's fought any villain and managed to survive, managed to gain this enhanced ability, managed to become a variant fighter, an unthinking dancer. And as a result, Six really can't do anything against him. I mean, every one of his blows are parried perfectly, And while Koichi is, very, very confused about why he's not dead yet, he is mostly okay. I mean, a little bit out of breath. And I guess eventually Six might be able to wear him out, might be able to have him reach the end of his endurance and eventually collapse from exhaustion. But that is, as O'Clock says, an uphill battle. So instead, they're going to go with another strategy to dominate him. The true purpose of Phase 6, which is, concerning, very, very concerning. I mean, apparently this alien form that Six took on, which allows him to stay in overclock time essentially permanently, wasn't even the full purpose of this new form. So what exactly is the next step of their plan? I mean, they said it was Phase 6, so I guess this actually could involve the bomber-type Nomu as well, because, I mean, I assume Phase 6 was just transformation, but if Phase 6 is also, calling over the bomber-type Nomu to Koichi right here, that's a much different story, because while Koichi can do a very good job at handling 6 now, if he was fighting, a dozen bomber-types at the same time, that'd be a much, much different scenario, especially if they all brought a hostage with them, because, yeah, then, Koichi really couldn't do anything, and 6 could just say, okay, surrender right now, or I will kill this hostage. Yeah, that definitely seems like kind of thing 6 would do. Though even if Koichi does actually surrender, 6 will probably still kill the hostage anyway, because 6, he sucks. He really, really sucks. But please let me know down below. What do you think of 6's new form? What do you think is the true purpose of Phase 6? What do you think of Koichi's Ultra Instinct mode, essentially being a result of him getting beaten up again and again, which... Oh, that's so perfect. That's so perfect. I mean, I said before, I assumed it was, his hero instincts. Because like All Might said, all true heroes from a young age instinctively run into danger. And that made a certain amount of sense, but yeah, I mean, if that was the case, any hero could attain this, but Koichi was only able to attain this basically because he was so bad at being a hero, because he received no formal training, no formal education, and just had to train his instincts so he wouldn't die. Oh, I love you, Koichi. I freaking love you. Link all down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to the next video. And until then, peace!